10 habits winners naturally have. Number one, and this is the most important one. This is what I've noticed. Every successful person, look at Kobe, look at Michael Jordan, look at Tom Brady, not just athletes, but anybody, business people, actors, anybody that is in the spotlight that is considered to be one of the greatest, even people who are just successful, we don't even know who they are. Anybody who is the best, they are crushing it in life. They all have this in common. They are able to control their emotions and feelings. They're able to control the way they react to what they're feeling. They don't just feel something and lose their mind like Antonio Brown. They they control it, they think about it, they in between stimulus and response, they allow their brain to kick in. And they say, well, if I react to this right now, it's going to make me look this way. It's going to have these negative effects. It's going to affect my relationships. It's going to do this and that. They are masters at understanding emotions are there. There's nothing you could do about it. But what you can do is you can make a choice on whether or not you're going to react to it in the moment or you're just going to tough it up. You're just going to be tough and deal with it. Number two, they are self-controlled and disciplined. They are able to say no. This has a lot to do with being able to control their emotions. People who do not have a lot of self-control and self-discipline, it's because their emotions are out of control. Their reactions to their emotions are out of control. They don't have self-discipline because their emotions say, well, I don't feel like doing this. And what do? Okay, we don't got to do it. They they're not able to say no because their emotions say, well, I want this thing right now. I want to do this thing right now, or I don't want to do this. And they say, okay, we're not going to do it. They're not able to say no. So winners don't have that problem. They understand emotions are there and they say, well, it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to say no to this thing. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to control myself because that is what needs to happen to push myself in the right direction. Number three, they don't play the victim. Anytime anything bad happens, they don't look around at the situation, circumstance, or the people around them and try to find somebody to blame. They look in the mirror. They look at themselves and they say, okay, this thing went sideways because I did something wrong. My thinking was off. My judgment was off. I made a poor decision. I didn't execute. My timing was off. I did something wrong for this to happen. And this sucks, but I'm going to make sure this doesn't happen again. I'm going to figure out what I did wrong and I'm going to avoid doing it again. I'm going to figure out what situation or circumstance I was in that caused this to happen. And I'm going to avoid being in that situation or circumstance again in the future. They look inwards. They don't try to blame other people. They look at themselves and say, this happened because of me, and I'm going to do better in the future. They understand their life is a result of their thinking, behavior, habits, emotions, feelings, and everything else. They fully believe it. They know that their success is a result of their thinking, behavior, habits, emotions, and feelings. They don't pin it on anybody else because they understand that's a bitch thing to do. They take full responsibility for it. Look at Tom Brady when he played horribly in some of his games. Go watch his post-game interviews. He doesn't say, oh, yeah, well, that wide receiver wasn't getting open. He can't catch the damn ball. Oh, this runner sucks or the coach sucks. They had bad plays. Nothing. He says, you know what? I'm the captain. I'm the leader of this team. I'm going to do better. We're all going to work together to do better, and we're going to watch film. We're going to learn. We're going to improve. We're going to do better next time. That's what winners do. Winners take full accountability, full responsibility for everything that happens inside of them, outside of them, for the results they get, for their failures. They take full accountability. Number four, they outwork everyone. Winners understand that in order to win, they're not the only person running the race. There are other people running the race. And they understand there are people with their mindset who want to destroy them, who want to see them fail, who want to be standing on the podium, who want to be in first place holding that trophy as much as they do. So they say, okay, well, these people that I'm competing with are working just as hard as me. So I have to work harder. I have to make sure I'm doing things that they're not going to do so I can make sure that I succeed. There's stories about Kobe Bryant and his work ethic that there's one story in particular. I don't know the basketball player's name, but this one basketball player, he went to Lakers Stadium and he was like, I'm going to get in there at this time, some ridiculous time, like 5 or 6 hours before the game. And I'm going to be in there practicing so that when Kobe walks in, I will instill fear in him and I'm going to show him that I'm going to outwork him. I'm going to mess with his mind in this game. He shows up like at some ridiculous time, 6 hours before the game. And as he's going into the arena, he hears a basketball. And he walks up and who's there? Kobe. Kobe's there playing, and not only is he there practicing at full speed, full tempo, he's drenched in sweat, and he had already he had already been there for an hour or two. So what happened was after the game, this guy went to the locker room. You can look it up. I forgot the name of the player. This guy goes to the locker room, changes and all that, and comes back out, and guess what he hears? He hears a basketball. Even though the Lakers won, he hears a basketball, and Kobe's out there playing full speed, full effort. So I think it was years later, he asked Kobe, what is with you? Why were you there so early? Why were you there so late? He says, because I noticed, he said, I was there practicing because that's what I do. But I noticed what you did before the game, and I wanted to make sure you saw me after the game so you will know you will never outwork me. Kobe was all about making sure that nobody was going to outwork him and that he had that mental advantage. And that's what winners have. Winners outwork everyone. They genuinely believe, and they tell themselves and they tell everyone around them, you will not outwork me, because they know that's what's going to give them the competitive edge. They need to become winners and stay winners because that's what winners do. Number 5, they don't care what people think. This is something you have to get over. I've never seen somebody who's like in number 1 place or they're the best in the world at what they do and they're sensitive to what people think. They're sensitive to people's comments and opinions and they get affected by it and they get anxiety over it. It just doesn't exist. In order to rise up and to move forward and to make progress, you have to quit giving a shit about what people think. I really mean that. You cannot care about what people think. If people think you're stupid, if people think this or that, they think you're crazy or they think you're out of your mind, so be it. That's what it is. That's what it is. You don't care. All you care about is your own opinion. Am I doing everything I'm supposed to be doing on a day-to-day basis? At this time of the day, when I'm supposed to be doing this, am I doing it? You look at yourself and judge yourself and make adjustments where you see fit. What you don't do is think about what other people have to say. For the most part, other people who are winners are going to give you positive feedback. They are going to look at what you're doing positive and they're going to verbally reward you and say, dude, you're awesome. You're doing great at this. People who are losing, who are losers in life, who don't have nothing going for them, they're going to be jealous. And all they're going to try to do, like look at YouTube comments and dislikes and all this stuff. They're going to do everything they can to bring you down because you're doing something that makes them feel self-conscious about themselves. They look at you and they feel like shit because they're like, I could be doing more, but I'm not going to. But this person over here that's crushing it, F that person. I don't like them. And they're just going to be haters. That's the way it is. You have to quit thinking, you have to quit caring what people think because people are going to be haters because that's their nature. Crabs in a bucket. They see you trying to get out of the bucket and escape the life they're in. They're going to try to pull you back down because they don't want, I don't want to say that they don't want to see you succeed, but it makes them feel bad about themselves and self-conscious when they see other people doing better than them. And it's not everybody, but you are going to run across people like that. And you can't care what people think. Like my whole life, my mom's been telling me that I need to go back to college and have a plan B. And I dropped out of college. I've been doing just fine my whole life. I don't need to do it. But I say, okay, thanks, Mom. That's great. But I don't really care what she thinks. Number 6, they plan and execute. Winners don't just say, well, I'm going to do this thing and they just start doing it. That's how they fail. Anybody who fails, for the most part, it's because their planning and execution was off. So what winners do is they think about what they want to do, and then they do their research. They plan the whole thing out for as long as it takes, and then they execute on the plan. If parts of the plan don't work out the way they wanted, they revise, make changes, and they attack again. They go after it again. They move their targets. They execute until they reach their goals and get done what they need to get done. Number 7, they don't have limits. They do what needs to be done. So most people who are winners will all tell you the same thing. People tell them they're crazy, they're out of their mind, they're obsessed, they're overdoing it. They need to chill, they need to take a break, they need to relax. That's how you know you're winning, is when lazy people or even just average people look at you and they just go, oh my God, like this person gets up at 2 a.m. No, I'm still up watching movies at 2 a.m. I'm not doing that. You have to be obsessed. And people who are losers or people who lose and they don't achieve what they want, the reason is because they place limits before they ever do it. They say, I'm going to do this thing, but here's the limit I'm going to place on it. Here's how much I'm willing to do it before I throw in the towel and say enough is enough. Winners don't do that. Winners say, here's the goal I need to accomplish, and here's what I'm going to do until I accomplish it. They don't sit there and say, I'm going to do this many reps. I'm going to publish this many books. I'm going to record this many videos. I'm going to do this many times. They don't place a limit on it. They just do it until they get what they want. And people who are opinionated and not winning in life are always going to be in their ear. You're doing too much. This isn't healthy. This isn't balanced. You need to do this. You need to do that. They just ignore all of it because they understand that success doesn't have limits. You do what needs to be done until it's done. Number 8, constant improvement. They don't look at where they're at and say, I've made it, I've arrived, I'm here. What they do is they say, okay, what I'm doing is great. What can I do better? What I did was great. My performance tonight was awesome. What could I have done better? And then they work on it. They're always improving. They're never going to reach a point where they're like, okay, I've improved to the point where I don't need to improve anymore. I'm perfect. Winners don't think like that. Winners are always looking at themselves in the mirror and say, yeah, I may be miles ahead of anybody around me, but I can still improve because I'm a winner and I'm always going to chase perfection. I'm always going to chase that mountaintop. That mountaintop is always going to be up there. They're never going to reach it. So what they do is constant improvement. I have a lot of information, but I could learn more. I'm good at this, but I could get better. So they're always looking to improve in every area they can. Number 9, they are real with themselves. When they screw up, they don't sit there and make excuses and blame it on other people and play the victim as we've gone over. They're real with themselves. They talk shit to themselves. They look at themselves in the mirror and say, look, you are screwing up. You need to get it together. Dude, me and you talked about this. We said we weren't going to do this shit because it hurts our success. Why are we still doing it? They are real with themselves. They're harsh with themselves. They're abrasive. They have their emotions and feelings in control, so they don't just sit there and act like a baby about it. They're real with themselves. There's an adult part of their brain and there's a childish part of their brain. And the adult part says, hey, you need to stop doing this already. What the fuck are you doing? This is not going to help us. Stop. And then the other part of their brain says, yeah, you're right. All right. They don't look at other people for the discipline or the feedback that they need. They give it to themselves. They are absolutely real with themselves. Even if they win the game, they're going to say, you sucked. You sucked tonight. You missed 27 shots tonight. You suck. You need to work on that. They're not going to be like, oh, I won the game. Who gives a shit? No, they're going to be real with themselves and say, like, dude, you need to get it together. Don't ever do that again. I'm embarrassed that I missed 27 shots tonight. That made me look like a loser. And number 10, they take risks. People who succeed in life, they all have the same thing in common. They did something that was risky, that they considered risky, or that people who aren't winning in life consider to be risky. They don't care how big the risk is. Well, they do weigh it and they are smart about it for the most part. But what I'm saying is that they don't look at something and say, oh, well, that's risky. I could potentially lose money. I could potentially embarrass myself. I could potentially look like I don't know what I'm talking about. They say, does that thing need to be done? Yes. Am I going to do it? Yes. Are there risks involved? Yes. Do you care? No, I don't care what other people think. There are risks involved, and there's a chance that I'm going to fail, but I'm going to do it anyways because there's a chance that I'm going to succeed, right? So as long as there is a chance that they are going to succeed, they will do it, and they will do it every single time. Elon Musk, he started PayPal. A lot of people don't know that. He sold it for like $500 million or something like that. And he dumped all his money into SpaceX and Tesla. He got to the point where SpaceX had failed launches and they were losing, and Tesla was having all kinds of production issues. Cars were dying. It was on the news and it was embarrassing. And he had, I think, his last 10, I think it was his last 50 million, 20 million, or 10 million, something like that. And he was like, one of my companies is going to die or both of them are going to die. So he said he was pretty sure Tesla had an 11% chance of succeeding, and his next launch at SpaceX had like a 7% chance of succeeding. And the interviewer asked him, well, why'd you do it? He said, because it's worth the risk. As long as there's a chance of succeeding, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to do it. Meaning that he took a $500 million fortune, enough to change generations of his family. And he bet it on everything because he knew he could achieve. He was on his last 50 million and he dumped it in there. If Tesla didn't work and SpaceX didn't work, he wouldn't be who he is today. But he took that risk and he's the richest man in the world now. So 10 habits winners naturally have. Emotional control. They are self-controlled and disciplined, able to say no. They don't play the victim. They outwork everyone. They don't care what people think. They plan and execute. They don't have limits. They do what needs to be done. They're constantly improving. They're real with themselves, and they take risks. So look at your own life. Look at which of these you are doing. Look at which of them you aren't doing. If you're not getting the results you want, you're not moving in the direction you want to move, you're not getting things done, you don't feel like a winner, look at these things and see where you can plant some of these things into your own life to make things happen.